Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe. Really excited for today's show. We got my good friend Vinki Loomba on the line with us today. So, Vinki, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me back, Brian, and so good to see you.
Good to see you too. And we had to stop talking and press the podcast button because whenever we get together, that's what we do is just. But for those listening, I think we've spent the last 30 minutes, chit-chatting, and we decided to actually record and do a podcast. So,
Mhm.
Vinki, welcome. Do us a favor and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Like you mentioned, my name is Vinki Loomba. I'm a CEO and a founder of the Loomba Investment Group. I'm also a fund manager for the Loomba Capital Partners. But more than that, I am someone who's really, really passionate about helping others
Mhm.
build a life of freedom and abundance.
Yeah.
So, would you like me to keep on going back on my background a little bit more?
Yeah, let's go background and kind of paint a picture of, how you got into real estate first, and then we can go into, everything else.
I come from very strong IT and academia background. I was a IT executive for 20 years. I come from a corporate world, and I was also a professor. That was my secondary job with my
Hmm.
primary job. I used to teach at California State University as an adjunct. For
Hmm.
about 12 years, I did that, teaching the executive MBA
Okay.
geared towards IT, totally IT domain. And then fast forward, I was investing in real estate with my husband. We used to own like single family homes or duplexes, few of them.
Yep.
And we were kind of burned out, just doing everything ourselves, all the property management and everything. And I
Yeah.
joke with my husband all the time because we didn't know what property management was at that time because wanted
Hmm.
to just DIY the whole time. But when we finally got rid of that portfolio, I was able to invest or co-invest in a syndication because I learned from one of my friends about syndications. So I was really interested into that. So I
Yeah.
started investing as a passive investor. So when I left my job, because my job moved to New York, I didn't have a choice other than
Mhm.
either I take the package or go find work for some other company, which
Yep.
I didn't want to do it because I thought I'm done with the corporate world, wanted to
Hmm.
start something for my own. So I stepped back into real estate with a different focus, different vision. I
Yeah.
started investing with others, primarily as a limited partner, or we call
Hmm.
it LP in our world. But
Yep.
very soon I got an opportunity to work with one of my friends as a co-partner. And
Yep.
that's how I started actively. And I'm 100% in real estate now for
Hmm.
last multiple years and doing multiple things, making multiple connections as well.
Yeah. So let me ask this. I think a lot of people listening to this podcast are kind of in that, transition phase where they're either just starting in multifamily or contemplating starting. What were some of the challenges you had, going from corporate to the syndication world?
I think it's basically the mindset.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because when you're working in a corporate environment, and I can talk from my experience, you're kind of pigeonholed, no
Hmm.
matter where you're coming from. You could be executive, or you could be line one manager, or could be just an employee,
Yeah.
because you just know the very smaller piece of the puzzle.
Hmm.
And that comes with the limitations.
Yeah.
So when you're living in that world, you have so many limitations, and the only thing is that you're trying to protect yourself all the time, this way or that way. So when you're living with that kind of mindset, that kind of biggest block for anybody, including me too, when I started,
Yeah.
like it's a trust issue. Like, how do I trust somebody with my $50,000 or
Hmm.
$100,000? Maybe I don't want to do it. I wanted to do it on my own. I
Yeah.
think there's nothing wrong doing it on your own, but there's a huge gap, I mean,
Hmm.
doing it on your own, you need time. That's you getting another job, basically. And
Yeah.
here you trusting somebody else to do it for you. Basically, you're putting your money to work for you. And
Hmm.
then you're seeing that passive income stream coming. I think the basic thing is the knowledge gap in all these things. So
Yeah.
when you get over that hurdle and have that understanding, how to trust people or how to vet the people who you wanted to work with. And I think
Yeah.
80% or 90% has been taken care already for you.
Yeah, that's probably why I do my own deals is because of that trust thing myself. I've invested passively with other people and I don't mind it, but coming down with that trust issue, I'd almost rather, well, I put my money into my own deals more than anyone else's. But yeah, that's a big deal for a lot of people, just that trust. So, and then yeah, you're right. When you get into this, it could be it's almost another full-time job. depending on how you approach it. So, well, let's talk about like your first few years in multifamily. Just what type of role did you fill in the deals, and what type of stuff did you do?
So when I came into the real estate, like I told you, I came as a passive investor
Yep.
and I jumped. That's the other thing I wanted to say. I was not hesitant about investing with anybody. I was
Hmm.
like kind of trusting everybody because I think that's a background too plays a big role. Like I say, I
Yeah.
came from my executive position. I used to trust my employees, trust my teammates, my teams who I was working with. So by default, I used to feel like there's no reason not to trust anybody unless they do something wrong or they give me a reason not to trust them. So
Hmm.
coming from that world, I was like, I was perfectly fine investing with somebody. So I jumped on it. I mean, if I
Yeah.
look back and talk about it now. So I think I'm not sure how you're going to categorize it good or bad. For me, I think it was good.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't seen any returns on that investment yet to see.
Hmm.
It's one of the investment actually. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will do well whenever we exit. And
Yep.
but that gave me the courage or the confidence that I can do it. By being a LP in a deal, that's not a bad thing because a lot of times people think, oh, I want it to be on the general partnership side.
Hmm.
They just stay away from being limited partner. But being a
Yep.
limited partner gives you so much opportunity and time to
Hmm.
review the deals, to check the
Yeah.
PPMs, the subscription agreements, also looking the deal decks, how somebody is putting the deal together, what the deal
Hmm.
structure is, what the capital structure is, all these things you get to learn. When you put this hat on that I wanted to just co-GP only, you're not paying attention to all these things. For me,
Hmm.
that was a learning curve coming from a
Yep.
corporate world and having the zero knowledge of real estate. So that
Yeah.
was my first hand experience. And I'm kind of a person who do not enjoy learning, but just by reading the books or watching the videos. I will
Hmm.
not learn anything if I just, watch
Yeah.
the videos all day long or read books. I will learn if I do it myself. So I'm
Hmm.
very hands-on. So that was
Yeah.
the other reason for me to jump onto the LP investing. So I learned a lot from operator to operator. Everybody's structuring the deal high level, same way, but
Yep.
the thinking process is so different. The business plan is so different. Even on the surface, it looks the same. Oh, it's a value add deal. We're gonna go in. We're gonna renovate interior, exterior. We're gonna spend this much money. We are done. But you
Yeah.
have to go a little bit beyond that. Understand that where they're coming from, what
Hmm.
their understanding is behind all this, or are they true operator? Is it gonna be done? Whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of information is very, very important. But new investors, they kind of have lack of understanding on
Hmm.
all these things. And that's the other reason, there is a limitation or they create a kind of wall, I should not
Yeah.
invest or should I invest or should I wait or what should I do? So this is part of the due diligence too, you can call it. But these
Hmm.
are all the, little bit tidbits here, there that you learn. So I learned that being an LP and very quickly, like I said, I got a chance to co-partner with one of my good friends.
Hmm.
So the first experience was raising capital from there
Yeah.
because both of us, we wanted to go out and then wanted to pitch our deals. So pitching your deal is very important to the investors.
Hmm.
When you go out, you're just selling
Yeah.
yourself, selling the deal, selling your tactics, your etiquettes, how to talk to investors. And those are all the important things, in
Hmm.
capital raising. It's not
Yeah.
like that. You just like going to the market selling the potatoes and onions. So it's like,
Hmm.
and then what I learned from there is just like that connection.
Yeah.
So whatever connection I'm making with anybody is going to be lifelong connection for me. This is
Hmm.
not just one deal that they do one deal with me and then I'm done.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed enough that all the investors that came along with me on this journey from day one, they're my
Hmm.
good friends. They became my extended family over the years. Look at
Yeah.
you. We know each other for a long time
Hmm.
and multiple other people. And we're going to be friends forever, I
Yeah.
guess, because that's where the trust comes in. That
Mhm.
plays a big role.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest lessons that I learned from my, very
Yeah.
early on this journey.
Yeah, and I've repeatedly learned the same lessons. I mean, I think when I first started, I was more interested in transactional because, we've got to raise this much money, we've got to raise this much money, and it wasn't until I think my third or fourth capital raise where, a couple of the people that I pitched my first deal to that said no ended up investing in deal number three, four, or five. And that's when I started realizing, yeah, I mean, everybody had told me relationships matter, but I'm kind of like people tell me something and I don't learn it. And then when I see it happen, it's like, oh yeah. But yeah, the relationships really do matter. And the better the relationship with the investors, the better off you're going to be long term. So that's one thing that we stress. I've got somebody else that does my capital raising for me now, and I tell him all the time, long-term relationship is more important than any single deal. And that's how we've started approaching it. But yeah, I love your philosophy. We're going to be friends forever.
That's true. I mean, and it's not just with the capital partners only.
Mhm.
Even it goes with the operators,
Yeah.
because you become good friends with the brokers, with the operators,
Mhm.
syndicators, whatever you call them, because these are the long-term relationships
Mhm.
that you're building. Because you
Yeah.
never know who's gonna have what deal at one point that you're gonna like, and then you might want it to jump on it, or work with that person. And to me, that's very, very important to me. And I'm not chasing anything. I think we talk about that multiple
Yeah.
times. I am not. I'm a place of fulfillment, like contentment, and I just
Yeah.
let things come to me. And I
Yeah.
have seen in my journey, I have multiple experiences with multiple people have very short-term vision. They work with you, they just think like, okay, this is it, this is the deal. So how do I make the most out of her? How do I do
Mhm.
this, that, cheat here, steal here, do whatever I wanted to do. I can just do everything this time and I'm done. I do not have that mindset and I do not believe in that. I don't care if this first deal didn't work with somebody, there's going to be another chance to work with that person again. If we stay friends, if I value that relationship, if I respect that person, if I
Yeah.
respect their thought process where they're coming from. And that's very, very dear to my heart more than
Mhm.
anything else. I think that's
Yeah.
the reason things happen. I'm just sitting back, seeing the magic happening in front of my eyes, Brian. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
have to say. Knock on wood.
Yeah, it took me a while to learn this, but I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now, and it probably took me 3, 4 years to figure this out. But my goal is after any partnership, I want everybody to want to work with me again, right?
Mhm.
And after any investment, I want everybody to want to invest with me again. And if we can keep that going, it's going to be fruitful for everybody. I mean, it's going to work better for everybody. If you can rinse and repeat partnerships and go back to the same people every time and partner and even expand your partnerships over time. The sky's the limit for everybody when you cooperate like that. So I think we're very like-minded on that subject. So, well, switching gears slightly here. So you are a fund manager. I'd like to talk a little bit about that, raising money as a co-GP versus raising money as a fund. 'Cause I know a lot of listeners are kind of in that stage where they're trying to decide which direction to go. Can you talk a little bit about, that decision process, why you decided to do fund instead of co-GP, what you felt the pros and cons of each direction were?
I think again, this is going to be different for everybody.
Mhm.
It's not something set in stone. I'm going to say it, whether you wanted to be a fund manager or if you wanted to be co-GP, because if you wanted to be a co-GP with somebody, you gotta have, like really good materially participation or material participation in the deal. That's the number one thing when you're co-GP with somebody. And when you come to the fund, a lot of times people do fund of fund these days. They're taking somebody else's deal, they're raising capital, and with a small fund, they're plugging into the deal as fund of fund, whether the part of the fund or whether part of the syndication. You can
Mhm.
do that too. There's nothing wrong that either, but it
Yeah.
again boils down to what you want, what your
Mhm.
story is. Because personally, I like both ways. Either way, that's the
Mhm.
reason I take the co-GP route too, and I also raise for my fund too. And my fund is a customizable fund,
Mhm.
so we raise at a deal level. So for
Yeah.
me, it's not much different. It's not a fund of a fund. So I still
Mhm.
co-GP by raising the fund and plug into the fund. And but if you do fund of a fund, that's a little bit different structure.
Mhm.
But you can still do customizable one time under one umbrella. You can do multiple deals. But like I
Yeah.
was saying earlier, it boils down to your story, what
Mhm.
exactly you wanted to achieve,
Yeah.
how you wanted to do it, because I think fund definitely layers you up with other protection layer, you can call it, is there for you. A lot of people, they feel more comfortable doing it. Fund of a fund model, it's
Mhm.
basically you're taking something and kind of reselling. That's the way I look at it, But I think either way is okay.
Yeah. I like how you said that. It really depends on what you want. I did start a customizable fund myself several years ago, well, 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now. And I found out later that it wasn't quite for me. And it's nothing wrong with the fund.
Yeah.
It's just that I didn't fit. It's like round peg, square hole, so I'm a round peg and if I were a square peg, it'd work perfectly. But if you're going to be raising capital exclusively, like if that's going to be your main role in this business, you should definitely consider the funds. Obviously talking to, people listening, but you definitely consider the fund as well. See, it might fit you better than just co-GPing on different properties, but neither's wrong or right. They're just different ways of getting something done. So,
Yeah, you're so right about that. There's nothing wrong in that. It's just like, what fits into your story. That's the only thing. And
yeah.
what you're trying to achieve. It's basically you have to talk to yourself. Like I say all the time, turn inwards, figure out who you are, what you want, how far you want to go, or what the final destination for you is.
Mhm.
Accordingly, you align the things, not just because this person has a fund or this person has a fund, I want to do it too.
Mhm.
Then sometimes things does not work out the way you want and you just feel like you're creating unnecessary stress for yourself.
Yeah. I will say, I did a couple of deals with my fund. Some of the drawbacks is you are doubling up on some of the efforts. For example, I have to file taxes, again. So there's some extra costs as a fund manager,
Mhm.
but once again, it depends on how you want to do things. But anyway, if anybody listening has any questions on funds or anything, contact us, and I'm sure we'll both be happy to chit chat through that one. But how about what you're forecasting right now as far as we're December 2025, Fed just cut rates a couple days ago. Multifamily hasn't been awesome for the last couple of years. What are you looking forward to in 2026? How do you think, multifamily is gonna do in the next couple of years?
Actually, you know what? I do not have a crystal ball, but
Yeah.
I was on a pop-up earlier with Omar Khan, my business partner. We actually raising for one deal right now. We do see some opportunities in this chaos as well.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Omar earlier, like I said, on my pop-up too, because I'm going to plug in the Warren Buffett's quote here. Warren
Hmm.
Buffett says, when people are fearful, get greedy. So
Yes.
maybe it's time to get greedy. Maybe there's so much chaos, so much noise in the market
Hmm.
that it's like such a foggy space to be in. You can't see the clarity. There's no clarity, basically. You cannot
Yeah.
see through the things. But sometimes in this chaos, you find good deals as well. And
Yeah.
it's a very challenging time, and all the challenges come with opportunities. So I don't think anybody should give up hope. So things are gonna change, and we know that past 100 years historically, if you can see the real estate, it
Yeah.
has proven itself over and over again.
Yeah.
There have been ups, there have been downs. It's a cyclical process. Every 10 years, it comes
Mhm.
down, goes back up. I mean, this is a law of
Yeah.
universe, right? What goes down comes up, what goes up comes down. It's like you just have to position yourself in the market in a way that you're riding the wave with this up and down.
Yeah, I agree. I just remembered back 10, 12 years ago, great financial crisis. I guess it's been 15 or longer, but I bought my first single family home in 2007. Okay, fall of 2007, right before, the market crashed and we went into that recession. And I remember sitting on that house for a while thinking, man, I bought it for 200,000. It's worth 170 right now. Is this going to bounce back? Are we going to bounce back? And I looked at all that history and I still had, a little bit of fear that it wouldn't bounce back. And, sure enough, 5 years later, I sold that property for more than 100,000,
Profit.
profit. I think going into where we're at right now, multifamily's been battered a little bit, but, I definitely have a lot more confidence in that cyclical nature, where we're coming out of that bottom and we're headed back up. And so, like you, we're very careful about deals, but, if we find something that looks good and we think can be a long-term play, that's what we're looking for. So definitely a lot of opportunities out there if you know where to look for them and you're not
Mm-hmm.
afraid to jump on them. So,
Yeah, I agree on that. And then, hey, people need home to live, right? Everybody needs a
mhm.
place to live by the end of the day. And then supply is shrinking anyways with this market turn. It's not like that. There's tons of supply. So
Yeah.
eventually, there's going to be huge gap between supply and demand.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
already seeing that little bit. So it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
So there might be opportunity right now. We don't want it to miss out. that
Yeah.
might pan out really well 5 years down the road when supply is going to be really, I'm sorry, demand is going to be really high and supply is going to be kind of nil at that point, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future. We're going to see a lot of things happen in the next year. Well, a lot of good things happen for
Exactly.
multifamily investors. All right. Well, we're getting close to end time here. So last three questions for you. Number one is what is next for you?
What is next for me? Oh my God, that's a really good question. I'm gonna be grandma soon. That's next for me.
Yep.
At the personal
Yep.
level, I'm really excited about that. So I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to taking some time off early part of the year. I do conferences as well. So next year I'm looking to do an in-person conference, a really
Oh,
big
good.
one, in
Yeah.
California. And love to have you
Mhm.
over there as well. And
Yeah.
the details gonna be shared with everyone shortly. My book is done. It's with the editor. It's gonna be coming out early part of next year. Actually, two books. Number one should be coming out first quarter, maybe January, February timeframe. And the second book, Beyond Multifamily, that's going to be coming out soon as well, which I
Okay.
co-authored with Kim Lisa Taylor, the
Okay. Yeah.
syndication
Yeah.
attorney. Yeah.
Syndication attorney. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then beside that, I'm gonna be keep on working on my nonprofit. Like my
Hmm.
goal is to touch 1 million lives in a meaningful way.
Hmm.
And my real estate role, bringing these deals to my investors, and then taking a portion of my profit and supporting this nonprofit causes. You know, these initiatives that I take down every year. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep on doing that. Maybe at a little bit larger scale than where I am today. And
Mhm.
beside that, I'm going to be helping people, educating people, and doing more deals. That's what the goal is.
Sounds like an awesome year coming up for you. Two books released, conference, your charitable work. Sounds like you're going to have a great year. So,
That's true.
uh,
I'm looking forward to it too because it's very meaningful work that I'm
mhm.
doing. It does not just help me; it helps my investors too.
Yeah.
Because we don't take even a penny from our investors, but by default, they are investing in my cause because
Mhm.
they invest
Yeah.
with us. By default, they're helping me to take down these bigger projects on the
Mhm.
philanthropy side so that we can help a lot more people and make a huge difference in other
Yeah.
lives around us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm very happy to hear about your charitable work. 1 million, that's a lot of lives helped out. So, excited to see that happen. More than anything else, I'm excited for that one. But sign me up for your conference as soon as you're able. When is that conference going to be? Do you have dates selected
We
yet?
are still working on the logistics
Okay.
on the dates because going a little bit back and forth, and
Mhm.
because soon to be grandma, so I'm
Yep,
going to
yep, yep.
take some time down on that. So really excited about that. So just have to work out
Yes.
some more details, then we'll announce the date soon.
Awesome, awesome. Well, very happy for it. And well, we got two questions left, so I'll go into the next to last one.
Mhm.
And that's if you had to give advice to somebody who is brand new, starting along the multifamily journey, what would that advice be?
I can advise anyways, this way or that way. I'm not sure how much it's gonna matter to anybody because it always boils down to their mindset, where they're coming from, their risk appetite.
Hmm.
But definitely, I will just say one thing, just do it. Just be action oriented because if you don't take the action, you're gonna be sitting on the sidelines forever.
Yeah.
If you win, you're gonna be happy if you made money, but if you lose, unfortunately, if you can think, fortunately or unfortunately, if you lose, still you learn a lot. That's a
Hmm.
huge lesson, and you won't make the same mistake again.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest advice right here is just do it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, do it with the right person. And
Yeah.
for that, you need to have the complete due diligence process, set up for yourself.
Hmm.
And for that, you need to learn about yourself, where you're
Hmm.
coming from, what your values are, what are the value norms, what family, everything. Just go
Yeah.
back into your life. Just figure out who you are, what you want out of this life. Because in this process, you're not just investing with somebody, you're
Yeah.
becoming somebody. That's the
Yeah.
important thing to understand. So when you're becoming somebody, because in each and every process that you're doing, you're becoming somebody. So it's very important to understand who you are first. And that's going to help you create the better relationships, not
Hmm.
just the deals. You're not running after deals then, because the right opportunity is going to come to you when you partner with the right people.
Yeah. Something you said, I remembered, Brian Briscoe like 8 years ago, listening to a podcast that sounded all of a sudden like every other podcast I had listened to. And I remember saying, I've listened to enough podcasts, I've read enough books, I know enough. Now I just have to go out and do it, Because when you said just do it, that's when I, took the headphones out and started actually working. And that's when things really started. That's when I started getting traction, obviously. So. Yeah,
Mhm.
great advice. Now, last question for you. How can listeners learn more about you?
Well, the best way to reach out to me is LinkedIn. You can go to LinkedIn and then send a connection request. Actually, I do have my calendar there too. I
Hmm.
think it's Chai with Vinki or virtual coffee or something like that. You can click on that. You can schedule a call as well.
Yeah.
Or you can go to my website, loombainvest.com. You can
Hmm.
connect that way. But I welcome that connection from anywhere, because I'm
Yep.
all over the place, whatever resonates with you. Or come join me at my conference because I
Yeah.
a conference every year, and I would love to have you or anybody who's interested because we
Yeah.
have speakers. Last year we had 60 speakers, and
Hmm.
the recordings are still available out there at gobeyondmultifamily.com if somebody's interested to purchase and look into that.
Awesome. Awesome. And I was just going to say, we haven't talked about your podcast yet either. And I signed up for that. I think we'll be recording last week of December. So,
Oh, it
um,
was awesome, really good. Yeah, my podcast. Let me take a second and
yeah,
talk about
please
that
do.
too. So my podcast we started as mind, body, and
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, and then halfway through we rebranded my podcast to the Real Estate Vibe Show because all my guests was related to real estate. That's what we
Mhm.
figured out because that's where you make the most money, I guess.
Yeah.
So recently at episode 200, now I think about we are 220 or maybe more than that. So we rebranded our podcast again to the
Mhm.
Wealth Vibe Show. So we
Mhm.
talk about the wealth building strategies. We going beyond a little bit real estate too. So it's just the wealth building strategy. We bring people all across the board, from any walk of life who is
Mhm.
really successful and who build like really good strategy how to generate wealth or generational wealth for himself or herself. So those
Yeah.
guests we have on podcast and it's gaining a lot of traction. And we get sometimes guests from overseas as well. So we do
Mhm.
have a lot of sign-ups from the overseas, from Europe, and also I think from Asia too, from
Mhm.
Dubai, I think for next year.
Oh, Dubai's a great place.
Hmm.
A lot of money in Dubai too, like over
Hmm.
the top in Dubai. But
That's
yeah,
true.
it seems like the mindset and mentality in Dubai is, you know what? I don't care if nobody's ever done it before, we're gonna do it, And I
Exactly.
love that mentality. It's like the whole city has that mentality. So indoor ski resort, largest, tallest building in the world.
It's
Just
super crazy and super
yeah,
nice. Oh my God, I would just go in a heartbeat again. I
yeah,
really loved it when we were there. It's super
yeah.
nice,
It's an
very
amazing
nice. And
feeling.
the attitude, just do it, like I was
Yeah,
saying. Just
yeah,
do it. It's an
yeah.
experience, this way or that way.
Just do it. Go to Dubai. Have a great time. It is a really cool place though. But anyway, Vinky, thank you so much for coming on the show. And for people listening, everything that she said, we'll put links in the show notes for you. But very much appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Brian. I look forward to having you on my show now.
Gonna be fun.